What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Quadcast, the show where we get real, get raw, and get loud about mental health, substance use, and the fight to take our lives back.
Each episode, we're cutting through the stigma, dropping knowledge, sharing stories, and bringing the heat with guests who have lived it and aren't afraid to talk about it.
So turn it up, lock in, and let's break barriers, spark change, and build a community that refuses to stay silent. You're tuned into the Quadcast, and let's get into it.
You can find us on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, or email us. The Quadcast is always looking for new guests, whether you're individuals that have experienced it, you're in law enforcement, treatment programs, nurses, doctors, or anyone that just has something to say. Come share your story with us on mental health or substance abuse.
Warning, there's cussing in this video. If you don't like swear words, well, you're
watching the wrong damn show.
You want to go
Yeah, sure.
touch on yours? Did they do yours?
Yeah. So I grew up in a pretty decent household. My mom and dad raised me in church and stuff, but it was there was always domestic violence going on. My parents were always fighting. I was always fighting my siblings. Age 9, my parents got divorced, and that really hit me hard. I started getting in fights in school. Started smoking cigarettes at 9 years old. Started getting kicked out of school. Grades started dropping, stuff like that. Met up with a good friend of mine who he's no longer here, but we started drinking, smoking weed. This is like the end of 6th grade, getting ready to go into 7th grade summer. We started drinking, smoking weed. Done that for a little while. And then he broke his leg in football, and he had a bunch of surgeries. So they were giving him pain pills. And at that point, we were drinking and smoking, and we figured out you take a couple of these pain pills and chase it with a couple beers, and we started feeling real good. And then after that, it was just off to the races. Like I said, I was about 12 then, and then hanging out with the wrong crowd. I done my first Oxycontin when I was 13 years old. 40, 50-year-old dude give it to me. Still to this day, I don't understand how a 40 or 50-year-old could give a teenager something like Oxycontin.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to look up to adults.
Yeah. Well, I definitely looked up to him, and that's what I kept seeking. So anyway, it just got worse from there. Fighting in school, getting kicked out of school. I don't know, probably about, we'll fast forward a little while. When I was a senior in high school, I was dating this girl, and she got killed in a car wreck coming to get me for school. And then after that, I just kind of lost it. Got expelled from school. Went to Huntington, got sent off as a juvenile, done some time as a juvenile. Got my life back together for about a couple of years. Had my son when I was 20 years old. And in that time, I stopped drinking for a little while. And then after he was born, I started drinking again and started dabbling in pills again and smoking weed. And I always had a good job. I lived 2 different lives. Like my wife and kids, they had no idea that I was using drugs.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of hid it from them. I thought I was hiding it from them. I did pretty good for a while until I didn't. So it was just, from probably the age of 20 to 30, I was trying to hold it together for my family, but I was always chasing dope. And then finally, I think in 2012, me and the mother of my children got a divorce, and and she kept the kids away from me. I wasn't able to see my kids, and from 2013 to 2018, I was just in and out of jail, just drinking all the time, doing drugs. Never had anywhere to call my own, really, just bouncing around from people's couches. And it was pretty bad. Wasn't happy. I was completely miserable. So back in 2017, me and the girl I was with at the time, we were going to make a dope run. We are taking somebody to PA to get Subutex, and I had to get the vehicle worked on that we had before we made that trip. So I went down and I dropped it off in the garage in Rainell, and I was walking back home, and I seen this guy in a parking lot, had a tent set up, and it was probably 85 degrees that day, wasn't it? It was hot.
Memorial Day.
Yeah. And I was living without power, living without water, just struggling to get where my next meal was coming from. So I stopped and talked to him. He had a cooler full of drinks. He gave me a cold drink. We talked about Jesus. He opened up his Bible, and I was really honest with him the first time I ever met him. Like BJ was saying, I felt a peace. And anytime somebody talk about God, like I had that light growing up. God protected me through everything that I was in. Hindsight 2020. I should be dead. I should be in prison, whatever. So after meeting him, I struggled for another, I don't know, year before I actually made the choice to get some help. I lost a really good job I had because drinking, drugs, and women. And I was to the point where I was suicidal. I was sitting on a balcony in Philippi, West Virginia, trying to get back home the whole time, bugging everybody I know just to come give me a ride. He was actually going to come give me a ride, and on his way to get me, his rotor broke in half or something on his car, and he ended up almost cutting his thumb off. And he's like, "I'm not coming to get you." So
That was bad.
Anyway, like I said,
He called me one time. He was talking about suicide. I'm pretty sure I told him, I was like, "Just jump." I said, "You ain't gonna do it." That's what I told him, because I knew he was just saying that because he wanted to come. I knew he'd been trying to get home. I'd been talking to Heather.
Yeah. I was just trying to manipulate the situation to get what I
I'm like being straight up with him.
He is.
I was like, "Y'all ain't gonna do it. You're what?"
So I didn't do it. I crawled down from the balcony, and he prayed with me, and I hung the phone up, and I laid on the floor, and I just cried out to God for hours, and I didn't know what to do. So I finally called a crisis line, and ambulance come and got me from where I was from, and took me to this crisis unit in Clarksburg. And that was the worst detox I ever been through in my life. I was coming off alcohol, coming off meth, coming off opiates. It took me 3 or 4 days before I could put a sentence together. Like it was bad. So then
It looked better and better.
I don't know about that.
Rough.
It was really bad. So then after the crisis unit, I went into sober living in Fairmont, West Virginia. I don't know if y'all heard it. I know they've heard of Oxford House. There's no structure in Oxford House. It's peer run. There's a lot of bad stuff happening in Oxford Houses, but it was one of them things, like I said earlier, I wanted to be different. Like it didn't matter where I was at, I was going to do something different. Like I had to have a better life. I was just tired of what I was doing. I got on Suboxone down there in the actual Suboxone program, and I took it the way I was supposed to. I wasn't selling it. I wasn't doing nothing like that. And then I was in there for 6 months, and something happened. They shut the house down or something like that. I can't remember. So my buddy Adam Adam Foster, he got me to go to Huntington, and I went to Huntington, but they told me, you can't come here unless you get off Suboxone, because they wasn't pushing Suboxone at this point. They wouldn't even let you in sober living if you were on Suboxone. You had to get off of it. So I went to a detox and got off Suboxone, and went to Huntington, and I bounced around in Huntington. I never relapsed in Huntington. I just bounced around from sober living to sober living because I didn't like the way they were running the program, or I was fighting with somebody else. I wasn't dealing with the problems that made me start using drugs in the first place,
Right.
which was trauma, abuse,
Character defects.
Yeah, my character defects, my mental health was horrible. So I finally started working on that. And it took a little while of me being stupid, making bad decisions, and thinking I can do things on my own. And finally got to a point where I caught another charge and went back to jail down there. And I was over it. And I just kept praying for God to send me people to help me through this. And he put me right where he wanted me sent. He sent me the people that I needed in my life at the time. And I've never really looked back. I was in Huntington from 2019 to 2022, and I came back here and I started working for God's Way Home, and then worked for them for about 6 months, and went to the company that I work for now. Which I'm not. If you know me, you know who I work for. I'm not going to say that out loud here, whatever. Because that's not who I'm representing right now. So anyway, worked for God's Way Home for a couple of years through this company I work for now, and now I'm doing the QRT stuff, which I'm just out here in the streets, man. I get calls from the 911 center with overdoses in Greenbrier and Pocahontas County. My number's so far out there, man. I get calls throughout the day, throughout the night, just people that just want to talk. Sure. People that are ready to go to treatment. I have connections all around the state of West Virginia. God has given me a network of people where if you need help, give one of us a call and we'll put you somewhere that'll fit your needs. Recovery is so much different than it was when I went into it. Like, I didn't have the help that, that I give today, or that Clint gives today, or that Andrew gives today. And it's really awesome to be a part of something so big. But on the other hand, it's hard too, because the enemy just hits, just all day, every day, tries to come against us.
So broad of an aspect that everybody's dealing with in some way, even if you don't even know it.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's really about it, man. In a nutshell, I'm not real good at giving my story, but I just want to,
there's a lot of detail there.
There's a lot of detail.
Yeah, let me give my side of Matt's story.
I don't really like to dwell on the negative, on all the past crap that I've done. I've forgiven myself for it, and that's the most important thing for me, to move on and to be able to help the people that I help today. I'm gonna praise God.
I've seen God do absolute miracle after miracle after miracle for this man. Yeah. Just absolute, like, if we could dive into the details, and like he said, it's the past, but it's like so many times he should have not. Like he said a couple times already, he shouldn't be here, one, and if he was here, he ought to be in prison.
100%.
And here he is, free man, doing the God's work.
Off paper, completely off paper. Yeah. I was on paper from 13 to the beginning of 25. Yeah.
Got off probation.
Got off probation. Yeah.
It's a long time with that hanging over your
It's longer than Anthony's been on.
Yeah.
But my main thing is if you need help, reach out. If you're out there watching, reach out.
Recovery is possible.
304-646-0110. Call
I'll
me.
get your info and put it in the description too.
Yeah, for sure. Call me and I can find somewhere for you to go. You just want to talk.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. I've done a couple interviews with, Dave Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
I've done an interview with Dave Taylor there in the beginning, and just the amount of resources that he could name off that he has.
Oh,
himself.
yeah, 100%.
It's kind of crazy to sit here and think about just the connection across the state for this or that, and the amount of people that network together and actually know each other.
In the beginning of trying, doing what we do now, of helping people, calling and securing them a bed somewhere and transportation was a huge thing. And hours, days, whatever. And then just, when did we send them two up there? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. I picked a guy up in Rupert to drive him to God's Way home, 8 miles up the road. And before we made it halfway back, I had him a bed and a ride secured together. Just the resources and the connections that you pick up, and the way the whole state is involved in resources and connections. And, what used to be a process is now, I'm not going to say it's always not a process, because there's places you run into that it is a process, but to be able to secure somebody and not just picking up and finding the first bed, that's, like Matt said, we can help you find a place that fits where you need to go.
That's the important part, is finding a place that fits the person that needs the treatment.
I mean, I get messages and emails daily. Hey, we got beds. Hey, we've got beds. And we got detox beds. We got sober living beds. We got this, that, the other every day. It's not a process that it used to be. Which for me, it was never a process, because the court was sending me there, and I guess they got pretty good pull.
I know from my perspective, I spent about 3 years, I guess, 4 years, just working on the street. I didn't have God's Way Home didn't exist. And, you'd pick somebody up, I pick up hitchhikers. I still pick up hitchhikers all the time.
You are a brave man.
If it hadn't been for the Lord that was on my side, that's what the word says. And so, anyway,
My parents always told me not to pick up hitchhikers.
yeah. Well, anyway,
I used to pick up BJ all the time.
but I knew that I was praying for drug addicts, and I knew I needed to help them. And it's just like setting a tent up the day that I met Matt. I put up a sign. It's like, if you need to talk, I'm here to listen. And I was just sitting there talking to people, and that's how I met Matt. But I was all the time trying to connect with people that were in active addiction, and getting around to the point of trying to lead them to Jesus, but ultimately, they can't stay in. I didn't want them strung out on drugs, trying to help them get out of that. And I've spent hours, days on the phone, just trying to get a hold of someone, like Clint's saying. And now it's like we can talk within minutes. We can have multiple beds lined up for like you said, having this multiple resources for whatever kind of fits your needs. And in 2017, 2018, 2019, that didn't exist. It wasn't there at all.
Well,
And
Andrew didn't know how to help me. Like back
No.
then, he didn't know where to hit me.
Like, Was it?
They just didn't
no,
exist.
It just didn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, crosswinds didn't exist, you know, as far as I know. I mean,
Crosswinds was around.
Yeah.
But it
It
was
was
They
not-
weren't what they.
no, it's what,
what they
yeah.
are today.
and then it's like, even when you would take somebody somewhere, it was very,
Hard.
it was hard, it was ineffective.
Yes.
I know like when I worked EMS, everybody that went to a center normally went to like Bluefield to Pavilion.
Yeah, to the
Mhm.
pavilion. Yeah, that's where I
In the
took.
hospital setting.
There
Yeah.
was 2, possibly 3 times my mom had talked me in to going to the hospital to get help. And we would call like Crosswinds to get a bed and they would not take me. So
You
So I
have to be hard
screamed-
to get people in the
so I screamed suicide. They have to take you then. Somewhere a mental facility has to take you. then.
Yeah, that was one of the things, you know, here I am, preacher, you know, trying to stand for righteousness and truth. And I'm telling guys, it's like, listen, if you want to go get help, you're going to have to lie to them
yeah.
and tell them, you know, they're not, if you're a meth only user, they're not going to take you because there's no clinical detox for methamphetamines. You're going to have to tell them you're using heroin. I mean, I once upon a time, I would tell people, it's like, go use heroin or go smoke weed or go drink a beer or something. Like if you're meth only, like they will not take you.
Really?
Yeah. For years. It was for years. If we'd go for medical clearance at the ER, you only have meth in your system, we can't take you. And so it was, or like BJ said, I don't think I ever told anybody to talk about suicide, but that, you know, it had to be a multiplicity of conditions for them to take you if it was meth, if you only use meth. Like if you had co-occurring disorders like schizophrenia or whatever.
So at the point, like when you would scream suicide,
I was sitting in the hospital.
but at that point, like when you went to where'd they send you?
They sent me Highlands in Charleston.
Okay.
Was the first time. The second time was the Pavilion in Bluefield. The third time was not a very good. So the first 2 times I'm sitting in the hospital and I get off the phone with Crosswinds and they're like, they couldn't accept you. So I just looked at the nurse. I said, I'm going to kill myself. Just blatantly like that. She's like, I was like, go ahead and clear me because we're going out of here, taking me somewhere.
Right.
But the third time, they told me no. But in the process, I was having blood work done, and this hung me right here. I had to lay in Ruby Memorial for 7 days on suicide watch. Couldn't even have my remote.
Nah.
Nothing.
Backfire.
Because my results come back. I was in liver failure, kidney failure. Yeah, my enzymes were in 1900, 16 to 2000s, and they're supposed to be between 60. And my liver was going out, and my bilirubins was way out the roof, and my pee was black as could be. I was pretty much dying, and so they rushed me into that. I had to be strapped in a cot. Oh yeah. I was 160 pounds. I didn't weigh that in elementary school. Serious. I was 150, 160 pounds in elementary school playing ball. And here I am in my early 30s and 20s walking around 160 pounds and thought I looked fine. Yeah. Yeah, I look good. And then now I look back at the picture, I'm like, what?
Didn't even look in the mirror.
I looked in the mirror, but I mean, I was so doped out. But it was sad because I did try to reach out and get help, but got rejected. And who wants to be rejected in that?
It was so
That makes
hard
you
to
lose
find.
hope.
Rejected makes you go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
further.
Yeah, multiple times I've picked people up, and you know it's cold, it's winter time, or you know homeless, or you know don't have suitable living conditions. You know, probably living in a burnt down house in the back bedroom or whatever. And it's like, you know, I'm telling them, it's like, you know, why don't you let me help you get somewhere? And so then once upon a time, you know, I'm on the phone and we're sitting in the car and we go to McDonald's and get a burger and sitting there, and it's 4 hours later. And like BJ said, you get the call back and it's like, yeah, they won't accept you. And then you get to go drop them back off in the cold, in the back at the track or wherever. And it's just like,
Track.
what? It's like, what good did I do them? And it's like, I made up my mind. It's like, hell freeze over before I ever do that again. I'll never do that. I'll never drop. If somebody genuinely wants help, I'll never drop them back off. And I started calling. I made my own, there are organizations that have resource lists and all this stuff now, but I made my own. And I just got on, and I learned the process, because there wasn't a process. There wasn't medical clearance and detox and then 28 days. But no, I didn't know any of that.
Right.
And it's like, I learned, I
And
made
a lot
it
of
my
that
vision.
I've learned just from doing these things, because I'm not in that realm of things. So
Right.
I learned by listening to everybody and
Yeah.
what's out there and the connections that I make by talking to people. So.
But I think the opposite of addiction is not recovery, it's connections.
Sure.
It's not just us making the connections through the detoxes and treatment programs, but it's people, it's meeting people. It's just like,
all I knew you surround yourself with.
it is,
100%.
And it's just like me meeting Matt that day. It's like, if you would have told me that day that we would be here today having this conversation, I'd be like,
Yeah.
so far,
Be like, he's gonna be dead.
so far removed. But God.
But God.
And then in Clint, when he was saying that day he went to the church, and that night he ended up arrested and everything else. It's like, I knew then that God wanted to use it. Like, I couldn't tell you how. It was just something that's in here. It's like, this dude's got, he's got talent, he's got abilities, and I really felt like he was going to help me, because I didn't know my hind end from a hole in the ground.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know addiction. I didn't know
Sure.
anything. And I knew I wanted to help people, and I knew that he had a desire to get better, and I didn't know how it all worked out. It's like, we see it all, how it's played out now. And BJ too, when I went to talk to him that day, he wanted to help. Like, he was going to be like an employee at God's Lay Home, and it never really worked out. But man, it's worked out.
It's worked out.
It never
all worked out.
They have the patience that I don't have, because after seeing a few come through and how they act, I can't deal with that.
Magic.
And I was blessed, because most of these guys, they started in teenage years, and it's usually when your brain function stops. You stop grow. You grow as a outward person, but your brain doesn't. I mean, you're high all the time. Can't grow. I was in my early 20s. I'd done grew up. I mean, I was pretty mature and grew up. Yeah, I was wild, but as far as my mindset and
You were
stuff.
just the oldest Wilson.
Yeah. So, coming out of it, I was a lot older, progressed, I guess, in my brain.
Well, I mean,
And then dealing with some of the guys that come in there, I was like, I can't work.
You have responsibilities.
Yeah. And these guys coming in that's been on drugs since they were 12, 10, 13, what have you.
Emotional.
They start acting like they're 10 years old. Everything's everyone else's fault. And I'm like, I can't deal with this. Like, take responsibility.
Accountability.
Take it. Like, you messed up. You're here now. It's over with. Let's put one foot in front of the other and let's go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't see it that way. And I don't have the patience.
That's not the world we're living in today. Everybody's problems are somebody else's.
That's the problem. Yeah.
So taking accountability is hard for people.
But that's a big thing. I feel like, for people that are listening, going to listen to this, is, that have never been around people that are on drugs or in recovery, is whatever age you start using drugs, and Matt, that's what you kind of get stuck there, because when you're happy, what do? When you're partying, whatever, you're going to use drugs. When you're sad, what do? You use drugs. When you're mad, what do? You use drugs. When you're whatever emotion, you mask it all with the drugs and the alcohol or whatever, and you get stuck there, and you never progress. You never really learn how to handle your emotions in an adult fashion, and that's what BJ's describing.
Yeah.
It's like, And when you do sober up, all of these emotions that you've repressed with drugs and alcohol come back. And it's like you get mad at somebody. Any other time you got high, now you have to, how do I manipulate this situation for my own set,
Right.
and deal with this emotion in an adult way. And it's hard.
So, I mean, I heard something a while back, and it was that you never, at the age that you experience a trauma, which is the same aspect that you guys are kind of laying out, that you mentally never progress past that. Like you're always stuck at the age where you experience that bad trauma.
Yeah.
So, like, if childhood abuse, neglect, you never mentally mature past that.
I think you can overcome those things,
Yeah.
through counseling and work, Yeah, I mean, it's a process.
But it takes work.
Yeah, I mean, it takes you. I mean, you think about
I work.
if a child is progressing normally, and how many scenarios you get into as a kid growing up when you get mad and learn, your parents correct you, or some teacher corrects you, or somebody's hopefully correcting you, and it's like you learn how to handle those emotions and all those experiences. I mean, it's literally your life.
Yeah.
And so regardless of if you come into a program at 40 years old and you just got sober and you've been using since, like you're saying, since you were 12, 13 years old, it's like you're going to be learning. You're starting back over at 12, learning how to handle it. And, as an adult, hopefully we can get through these things quicker than, living it out. It's years. And if you study addiction, I mean, once you quit using, it can take up to like 8 to 12 months for your brain to just start functioning right again, to kind of be to this whatever normal is.
When the fog is gone.
Yeah, who knows what normal is, but
I ain't never seen it.
but just that in and of itself, it's like quit using drugs today. You've got 8 months to. It's like somebody comes into our program 60 days in, and it's like we're expecting them to, just grab the bull by the horns and take off and get a job and start paying fines and all this. It's like you ain't even thinking straight. You're not even close to thinking straight. And you have to take that into perspective when, and then it's like employers, it's like you're going to hire somebody in recovery. That's a whole can of worms in and of itself. It's like you have to take those things into account. It's like, why is this 45-year-old man acting like a 10, a kid? It's like, well, it's part of the process.
Because people like BJ.
It is.
He's died. He missed a good shot being a plumber, apparently.
So today, that's really
I'm gonna hit him, I swear.
today, this is who I really try to be, like the person that I needed in my early recovery. Like what I needed, I try to show up for people and be there.
Quit laughing, BJ.
Oh
We'll keep popping the jokes.
Anyway, you get it.
Yeah. There's a scripture in the Bible, it's Psalm 107, verse 2. It says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy." And I tell all these guys, it's like you have a say so, like you have a voice to change. I mean, I've never been in addiction as far as drugs and alcohol. I've been addicted to other things, pornography and lust of money and everything else. But anyway, you all have a say so in changing other people's lives. That's what Matt was saying. It's like he's trying to be the person that somebody he wished he would have had when he was trying to get clean. And that's so important. It's like, and you can do that in the most minuscule ways. It's like it doesn't take a lot of effort to be there for somebody that's needs a hand up,
Showing up, giving them a backpack with the hot hands and a water bottle and MRE or something.
Just talking to, just having somebody to talk to that understands, that's been there. That's start
Genuinely
conversation.
free, they can feel comfortable.
Yeah. And a lot of people, that's where
respected. I mean, But, you know,
And like you said, judgment free. It's like you can't condemn them for where they're at. It's like had a few bad decisions in my life, I would have been just as bad off as BJ or worse.
well,
You
that's,
know,
you know, we, I think it's, but we may all been talking about it, but it doesn't discriminate.
no.
It could happen to anybody at any time.
Can.
And like you said, just an accident, a sports accident, a car accident, and we're just a few bad decisions away from being right at the bottom of the barrel with people. It's like, you know, you want to look down on them. It's like until you're there, until it's your child or your brother or your mom or your dad, you know, and it hits home. It's like, and I never dreamed they would do that. And it's like,
I use BJ as an example, not to call him out, but BJ's given everybody every piece of evidence out there to be against him or to judge him.
Oh, yeah.
And especially BJ, I think of BJ just as, you know, same as I did before.
Yeah.
BJ and I've always had a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Outside of anything. You know, I wouldn't hold anything of his past against him because I've seen where he's come from to where he's at now. That's very respectable.
Yeah.
And you know, he's building his business around that, and he's doing good. But that's the thing that people don't. They don't cut people to benefit.
Yeah.
They don't give them a chance to show who and what they can be. They just judge them for what they did before.
Well, it's the forgiveness thing too. People don't know how to forgive anymore.
everybody wants grace, but nobody wants to extend any. I always use,
Absolutely.
we're, talking about law enforcement earlier. It's like when you get pulled over, you want to come up with every excuse in the book as to why you don't need a ticket. It's like, oh, well, I was going here or this or that, or I wasn't paying. I didn't see the sign. You've got all these, and you're trying to get this officer to give you some grace, extend grace.
Right.
But if somebody cuts you off in traffic 10 minutes later, you're wanting to cuss them and rant and rave. It's like, sorry, son, they ought to learn how to drive, And it's like,
I'm on him my ticket, but I'm still getting on them.
Yeah. It's like we're begging for grace and mercy in our case, but then it's like, somebody blows by us or whatever the situation is. It's like, how do you know what they're going through? It's like we have no idea what other people are going
Nobody
through.
stops to think about other people.
No, just self-absorbed.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Quadcast.
Remember, breaking stigma doesn't stop when the episode ends. We're building a movement, and you're a part of it. Stay strong, stay aware, and stay connected.
And this is the Quadcast signing out.